Hey, so I wanted to talk about politics, as is always the case. I really enjoy, well, I don't want to say I really enjoy politics because I hate it. I despise it. It's difficult when you have varying, varying levels of charisma, varying levels of believability, varying levels of controversy, varying levels of scandal, and yet at the same time, every one of these idiots is just a bold-faced liar. You know, that's frustrating, and I don't enjoy that. But what I do enjoy is annihilating politicians, just really ripping them to shreds, because they say one thing, and a week earlier they said something different. Sometimes an hour earlier they said something different. And there's a lot going on. And certainly, while I am a big fan of certainly trashing the Republican Party, I also equally enjoy trashing the Democratic Party. And we're going to do that here today, mostly just for time's sake. But just as a brief overview, Sarah Palin's investigation was completed as far as her abuse of power situations and having a trooper fired up there in Alaska, and she was found that she did, in fact, abuse her power. Now, you know, some of you out there who are really leaning towards Obama going, oh, there you go, right? Are you telling me a politician abusing their power is a surprise? No. Is it something that needs to be hit on any more than that? Probably not. I can go through the story if time permits, but, it is what it is. What I want to talk about here today is the Democrats. I want to talk about this really, really intense focus on racial issues right now. Okay, they're trying to prop this up. They're trying to make this a huge deal. They're trying to cause racial turmoil in America. Now, when I say they, you might think I mean the Republicans. Or when I say they, you might say I mean the Democrats. I mean both. Democrats, Republicans alike, trying to turn the American people against each other. Think about it. What do we have in common with politicians? Nothing. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what they believe. It matters in their minds is the bank accounts. They are the rich. We are the not rich. As a result, we are their enemy because we could destabilize their system, because we can refuse to participate in their BS. We could refuse to believe enough to keep going to work and to, stock all of our money in the banks and to vote all the time and to believe their garbage and hand out their campaign propaganda. However, the best way for them to keep our focus off of their BS is for them to facilitate us to fight amongst ourselves. It's that simple, right? Think about what was going on in Iraq, right? We've got all the insurgents there who want to kick us out of their country. What happens? Some weird stuff happens, and all of a sudden Sunni versus Shia breaks out, a little civil war action. What happens? We step back and watch the chaos fall apart. Eventually one side leans towards victory, and guess what? No more problems. Security problem solved in Iraq. See? They turned them against each other. They fought it out, and then the enemy was not strong enough to do anything anymore. That's what they want to do to us. You have to acknowledge this. You have to see it for what it is. You have to be able to resist the temptation to buy into this garbage. There is too much racism in America. I can guarantee you, if you are white, you have more in common with an African American, with a black person who's not a politician, than you do with a white politician. That's a fact. We have a lot more in common. Stop buying into the BS. Let's look at some of this. LA Times, October 5th. The isolated towns of Virginia's Appalachian coal region are home to strong labor unions and democratic political machines that date back generations. Yet voters here who eagerly pushed Democrats into the Senate and the governor's office are now resisting Barack Obama. Oh, they're racist in Virginia, apparently. Some Americans say Obama's race and uncommon background make them uncomfortable. Here, those people include Democratic precinct chairmen and get-out-the-vote workers. Many Americans receive emails falsely calling Obama a Muslim. Let me interject something here. Obama went to school abroad as a young man. His father was a Muslim. Barack Obama was registered as a Muslim. He did attend Muslim prayer. Does that matter to me? No, I don't care about that. Doesn't matter at all. But to some people it does. But the point is, saying that it's false that he's a Muslim, that is absolutely debatable. Because he either was at one time and is not now, or he still kind of He's kind of riding the fence there. You might say, oh, he's a Christian. He's a Christian. He was at the United Church of Christ in, whatever it was, with Jeremiah Wright. You might say, oh, he was there for 20 years. Big deal. It doesn't mean anything. Just like it doesn't mean anything that he went to a Muslim school and practiced Muslim practices. Just saying. It doesn't matter to me, but if it does matter to some people, let's look at it. Let's call a spade a spade. Can you say that there's some evidence that he either is or was a Muslim? Absolutely. Regardless. It says here, it's in Virginia, a local newspaper columnist has joked in print that Obama would have the White House painted black and would put Islamic symbols on the U.S. flag. So, clearly that's going to be controversial. And so, Obama supporters, as they push to win this dead-even battleground state, are talking directly about race, betting that's the best way to raise their neighbors' comfort level with the prospect of the first black president who is to openly confront their feelings. When Cecil E. Roberts, president of the coal miners' union that shapes politics in much of this mountain region, talks to voters, he tells them that their choice is to have, quote, a black friend in the White House or a white enemy, end quote. When Charlie Cox, an Obama supporter, hears friends fretting about Obama's race, he reminds them that they pull for the nearby University of Tennessee football team, saying, quote unquote, and they're black. Wow. This just blows my mind because it's so, I don't know, it's so petty. Y'all can vote for a black man. You like them black football players, right? Seriously? Why can't a football player just be a good football player? Who cares what color they are? Why can't a politician just be a liar instead of being a black liar or a white liar? Now, I say they're liars. I know some people, and in fact, some of these people, they're actually talking about this because they actually want to see a politician get into power. They actually want to see some difference made, and they feel that they have to overcome the racial stigma amongst each other. And that's why they're talking about it. Union organizer, it says, Jerry Stollard asks fellow coal-workers what's more important, improving their work conditions or holding on to their skepticism of Obama's race, culture, or religion. He reminds them, quote, we're all black in the mines, end quote. Okay. But again, that implies that Barack Obama actually gives a crap about coal miners and their working conditions. That implies that John McCain gives a crap about coal miners and their working conditions. They don't. They don't care about you. They need your vote because they need you to keep believing the lie. The presidential campaign, it says, in the almost all-white counties of southwestern Virginia has produced an outcome that few people expected, a frank discussion of race. Voters sometimes sound as if they're reasoning with themselves and working through their own complex views as they talk through the choice they face this November. Said Sharon Fleming, age 69, wife of a retired coal miner who spends hours at the Union Hall calling voters on behalf of Obama. She said this, quote, I've never been prejudiced in my life. My niece married a black, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, I wouldn't want a mixed marriage for my daughter, but I'm voting for Obama, end quote. Think about that. I ain't racist. My niece married a black. I don't want my daughter to marry a black, but I like the Obama guy. He's all right with me. Do you see this? I mean, we have to explore really what racism is, right? What is racism? It's not necessarily a bad thing, really, because racism, it just means it's race-centered thoughts. And that's true. So you can have race-centered thoughts without them being negative race-centered thoughts. Do you see what I mean? Acknowledging that there are differences, acknowledging that someone is different, even in a positive way, still is race-centered thought. Thereby, it would still be racism, right? However, the racism that most people talk about is negative racism. Now, this gal is probably not a negative racist, but she's a racist. She's acknowledging this. And again, a little bit of a double standard. A black guy's okay to be in the family as long as it's not in her house. A black guy's okay to be in the White House. But a black guy's not okay for her daughter. Maybe even Obama himself. Good enough to be president, not good enough to be son-in-law. I don't know. Says Obama beat Hillary Rodham Clinton convincingly in the Virginia Democratic primary, but his supporters have known they face a challenge in this part of the state, just as Obama has faced challenges elsewhere among white voters from rural and working-class households. He took 64% of the primary vote statewide, but just 9% here in coal-rich Buchanan County, for instance, and 12% in neighboring Dickinson County. Though he is now the Democratic nominee, many voters are cool to him, even some of the party's own leaders and precinct captains. Said Tommy Street, the party's vice chairman in Buchanan County, quote, I haven't found in my precinct 1 out of 5 that will vote for Obama, end quote. So they're Democrats, but they don't like Obama because he's black. Street, age 78, counts himself among the doubters, citing Obama's alliance with Senator Edward M. Kennedy, Democrat from Massachusetts. He has always voted Democratic, he said, but this year plans to leave the presidential ballot blank. So he's not going to say, that's it, I'm going to teach that black guy a lesson. I'm going to go and vote for, the Republican. He's just going to say, I'm not going to vote at all on that particular issue, but he still will vote. Some here blame Obama's troubles on his mixed-race background. His mother was a white Kansan, his father a black Kenyan. Others say his journey from Hawaii and Indonesia to Harvard and big-city Chicago politics makes him an oddity. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, oddity is one way to put it. It's unusual, sure, but it's the same elitist nonsense that we see from so many others. The challenge, it says, facing Obama was on display at a recent Democratic Party dinner at Twin Valley High School in Buchanan County, deep in the mountains, about a 2-hour drive from Bristol, the nearest city. Looking out at about 70 local Democrats as they ate turkey, ham, and mashed potatoes from school cafeteria trays, Phil Puckett, a local state senator who backed Clinton in the primary, said that he knew that nearly everyone present had voted for Clinton and that many were not necessarily excited about Obama. But he pleaded with them not to believe everything they were hearing about the Illinois senator and to seize the chance to boot the GOP from the White House, saying, and again, this is just party stuff as well. What they're saying is, hey, any Democrat is better than any Republican, so let's just stick with our party. But again, that's party line politics. Excuse me. And I'm always against that, because that is simply supporting a party, right or wrong, good or bad, regardless, because of some sense of loyalty to the party. The party's never done anything for any of these people, and it's not done anything for you. So if you are a party line voter, I would say that you are probably one of the biggest problems out there in America today. But that's just my humble